Welcome to Minding My Money. I'm your host, Shawnee, and this is where the journey to financial freedom is real, raw, and a little bit fun. I'm sharing my wins, my lessons, and everything in between, $1 at a time. Now, before we jump in, let me say this. This ain't financial advice, just financial realness. All my life, I had to fight. There was a time I didn't know how I'd make it out. I was sitting in my apartment, barely holding it together. Rent had jumped from $600 to $1,000. Gas, groceries, internet, everything was going up except my paycheck. I was making $1,300 every 2 weeks, and it was just not enough. It was far from enough, as a matter of fact. Then, fast forward 5 years into my apartment, came the eviction notice. And not just any notice, the notice. The one that said the sheriff was coming, the one that made everything feel like it was crashing down. I had always prided myself on being independent, having my own space, taking care of myself, but suddenly I had to call my mom and ask if I could move back in, and that broke something in me. I felt my world was crashing before my eyes. I was mentally, emotionally, spiritually done. I felt like a complete failure in every sense of the word. But even in that lowest moment, something inside me whispered, "We gonna be all right." I used to think rock bottom was the end of the road, but now I know it's the start of the rebuild. That eviction, that heartbreak, that I have nothing but this one bag and half empty bank account season, that part of me, it broke me open. And from that breaking point, something new started growing. I cried a lot those first few weeks back at my mom's home. I was embarrassed. I felt stuck. But then I remembered what my partner told me. He told me to use that time to stack, earn, and don't let it be in vain. And I listened very intently, and so I got to work. That little bedroom at my mom's house became my lunch pad. Nobody warns you about the shame that comes with survival. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind. The kind that shows up when you're smiling in public, but replaying your worst moments in private. The kind that makes you feel behind, even when you're doing your best. You see, I felt ashamed that I couldn't figure it out and fast enough. Ashamed that I had a degree, but still struggling. Ashamed I needed help. But shame thrives in silence, and the moment I named it, it lost some of its power. We glorify independence so much, but nobody talks about when it turns into isolation. I didn't want to ask for help because I thought needing help meant I failed. But needing help didn't make me weak. It made me a human. And sometimes independence isn't about doing everything alone. It's about knowing when to lean so you don't break. So you might ask, what kept me going? Well, that'll be my faith, grit, and a deep knowing I couldn't stay where I was. I didn't want to be at my mama's house forever. I didn't want to live on handouts. I wanted to feel like me again, strong, grounded, and free. So I got intentional. I prayed. I wrote down my vision. I manifested, literally taping it to the wall and reading it 3 times a day. I studied people on YouTube, but also I soaked up game wherever I could. And even though nothing changed overnight, I kept moving. Because slow and steady wins the race, slow progress still works. So let me say this clearly. Being broke doesn't automatically mean you're bad with money. Most of us are really doing the best we can with the information and resources that we have or had. And for a long time, I had no financial literacy at all. Sometimes you're just underpaid. Sometimes you're surviving systems that weren't built for you. Sometimes the math just don't math. And knowing how to use what you do have, that's a skill, one I didn't have at first. I stopped confusing lack of resources with lack of discipline. And once I did that, I could finally learn without self-hate in the way. I didn't have extra money, but I had access to information and free information. I happen to be really good at research, so I used every free resource I stumbled upon. Free classes, free podcasts, free YouTube pages, free community resources. I went to Operation Hope every Saturday, and an accountant at the church I was attending at the time hosted a free course, and I showed up. I tracked every dollar. I learned how credit actually works, and education became my rebellion. Knowledge became my safety net because nobody can repossess what you've learned. Early progress is humbling. It didn't look like wins. It looked like canceling subscriptions, staying home, saying, not right now. It looks boring, it looks slow, but boring progress is still progress. Quiet growth still counts. Nobody sees it until one day they do. Along the way, I realized something important. I couldn't out-earn a broken mindset. If I still believe I didn't deserve stability, I would self-sabotage every time I got close. So, I worked on my thoughts before my goals, my habits before my hopes, my discipline before my dreams. Money trauma doesn't disappear just because your account grows. It shows up as anxiety, as hoarding, as fear of spending, as guilt when you're finally enjoying yourself. I had to learn that financial safety isn't just numbers. Hope isn't just a feeling, it's a discipline. It's not toxic positivity, it's just being grateful. You see, real hope looks like this: naming your pain and still believing in better, crying yourself to sleep and still waking up with a plan, admitting you're broke, scared, and tired, but showing up anyway. Toxic positivity says, be thankful, it could be worse, as opposed to true hope, which says, this hurts, but I'm not done yet. The version of me you see now, she didn't arrive overnight, I guarantee you of that. She was built through late nights, hard lessons, missed opportunities, and relentless self-belief. I didn't wake up confident. I practiced confidence until it felt familiar. So I say this, still I rise. I rise from eviction notices. I rise from empty accounts. I rise from shame, fear, and doubt, not because it was easy, but because I refused to stay down. This season isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. So, still, I rise. Now, as I wrap up, let me say this. This journey didn't start with a strategy. It started with survival, with not giving up, with sleeping on a twin bed in a childhood room, trying to pray my way out of it. But look what survival turned into. It turned into discipline, focus, peace, power, and purpose. So, if you're in a low season, hear me clearly and very clearly. You're not broken, you're just beginning again. We rise one hard moment at a time, and when it all fails, say it to yourself until it sticks. Say, we gon' be all right. Thanks for tuning into Minding My Money, where every dollar has a story and every story brings us closer to financial freedom. If you felt inspired, learned something new, or just vibe with the journey, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs it. You can also catch more content and behind-the-scenes moments on YouTube and Instagram. Just search Minding My Money. Until next time, keep minding your money $1 at a time.